Hey, and we're back. This is What's Out There. I am Robinson Edward Derry, and we are speaking with JC Dove about the art of Theta Healing. Now, we were talking about, before the break, we were talking about mitochondria and mitochondrial DNA, and one thing I wanted to mention was I saw a commercial, and you always see these commercials, with various companies, and they talk about skin rejuvenation creams and creams that reverse the aging process, and you can spray it on, or you can or you have it in a kind of a lotion. And I'm really not sure if these scientists in Europe or in America or whatever have actually conquered the aging process as they have claimed. Now, I do know from doing research that mitochondria are believed to have an effect, or believed to affect, the aging process. What does theta healing have to do or with this particular process? Does it even affect aging?
Definitely. Within the realm of theta healing, there's a particular technique that we offer clients, and it's called DNA activation. And within that process, there's an observation on the practitioner observing the DNA change, where some people believe that we are meant to not only age gracefully, but age have many, many, many more years than the typical, death rate of dying between 70 and 80 years old. We are meant to live hundreds of years. And this is the science that is looking into that right now, and part of it is having tapped into this knowledge of DNA activation, where there are some dormant strands of DNA that exist within the human body.
So we're not going to be able to find this rejuvenation in a skin cream, are we?
Well, what concerns me about a lot of these creams is that there are some harmful chemicals within it, along with the promotion that they will do what they say they will do. I believe that the rejuvenation process comes from within our body, and then it resonates out so that the wrinkles go away. And, coming from the background of a nurse practitioner, when I first heard of this DNA activation, I really had questions in my mind as to whether this would work. And truly, when people look at me and look at my energy level, they can't believe my chronological age. And so I believe, not only for myself, but also, other practitioners of theta healing, to get into the activating of this mitochondria, and also there's more energy flowing through your body, more chi, more life force. And I actually saw it, within my clairvoyance abilities. I can actually see what happens within the DNA, and there's two strands that are specific to defy, if you will, our belief in mortality, the dying process. And so then the cells are activated to be more alive, perhaps, and then it transforms into what your body actually looks like.
That's that's the magic button. I think that's. I know as a science fiction writer, I've read stories and written stuff that myself. The people who want to live longer, and like I said, I don't think we're going to find it in a cream down there. But theta healing does sound like it has is a definite promise. But the people are going to have to actually go through the process, as you stated, and get this DNA activated and so forth. They're not going to be able to just sit back and find it on the tip of their fingers, right?
Find at the tip of their fingers?
Right. Well, I mean, if they want to, live fuller lives, they're not gonna be able to find it at the tip of their fingers, and a cream. They're gonna be able to,
right.
They're gonna need to
right.
do the DNA activation, and so it's not gonna be, they're gonna have to do some work.
Going to the grocery store and picking it up on a shelf. Yeah, this work, the theta healing work, a lot of it is done at the pineal gland. For the longest time, in medicine, didn't really know the function of the pineal gland. And yet now we know that unless it is used, that it calcifies. It's really hard. So the more a person meditates or gets into Theta Healing, the more awake or alive the pineal gland is. And the pineal gland is actually the seat of wisdom. The more we use it, the more we have these gifts of clairvoyance, seeing beyond the physical, hearing beyond the physical, sensing beyond the physical, and much more. So when the DNA is activated, it gives us the opportunity to evolve beyond our five senses, which many people say those are seeds. They limit us in our assessment of our life. There's a much greater perspective when you start to access the higher senses, where you start to connect the dots. Your life begins to make sense. You get to realize why things are happening. There's a very definite orchestration of all the events in one's life. So, it gets very exciting.
It's interesting because I had a question. Now, the other night I was watching, I forget what channel, there was a movie called Altered States. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it before. It's where William Hurt is kind of messing around with the trying to understand evolution and help people get to the next state, and he kind of messes himself up and physically changes, and I'm not sure if he devolves or evolves, but
right.
How can expanding, or how can the DNA helping the DNA evolve, how can that help people overall? How can it help the human race?
Well, what happens, and also part of this DNA activation, is that the beliefs that have limited you in certain aspects, whether it was, hearing as a child that you could never be an engineer, and then you get to believe it, and your dream has all been, becoming an engineer, but your beliefs got stuck in what your parents said. That's limiting you into your expression. So as part of Theta Healing, there's a release of these limiting beliefs, very much like a computer that gets the computer upgrade, gets a new update so that it can function better, go faster. It's the same thing with a release of our belief system. When we get to see a greater perspective, and we even see that in sports where an athlete is able to break a record, a speed that was never achieved before, and now it makes it possible for everybody else. So as one person expands their perspective, then it allows other people to do the same. It's like this 100 monkey theory, where one monkey realized on an island that they didn't want to eat potatoes that were filled with sand, and started to wash the potatoes. And pretty soon, the others on the island began to do the same. And then on another island, totally unrelated to these monkeys, they also started to do the same. There was this mind-group consciousness. So information came into this invisible field to actually help the other monkeys from the other islands do the same. So when we do something, sometimes we think, our thoughts are in a bubble or our actions are in a bubble, and that's the farthest from the truth. Every thought and action that we have affects everyone, all of humanity. So when we can break the record for ourselves, we break it for everyone else around us, and that's what's helping enhance consciousness. Many people are meditating now, so it's becoming more easy to tap into the group mind.
Right, sort of like, I think I know what you're saying. Is like, if you remember Roger Bannister, for years people said you couldn't do a 4-minute mile. Then suddenly he did a 4-minute mile, and suddenly now if you do a 4-minute mile in professional track and field, you're considered, slow. And so yeah, once he broke that, and suddenly you saw everyone saying, okay, it can be done. All right, we're coming up on our next break. So when we come back, I'm going to ask you about the process that you use with your patients for Theta Healing, and then ask you a few things from your PowerPoint presentation. We are talking with JC Dove and discussing Theta Healing. If If you want to find out some more information from JC, you can email her at activatedna@aol.com. And we'll be right back.